We'll just start chatting. Hold on here. How are you, by the way? I haven't seen you.
I know I've been, it's been a long time, but I've been really good. Been very busy. Thankfully, I've been working a lot, teaching a lot.
Because you had health issues, right? For a while there?
Yeah, actually, due to my very, very poor judgment to doing the vaccines, I've had like huge blood clot issues.
You think it's from that specifically?
I believe so. I mean, I got other issues going on, but I had no problems with blood clots until after the vaccines.
I'm sorry. You doing all right now, though?
I think so. Yeah. No more blood clots in the leg. They took those out. As far as I know, I don't have any pulmonary embolisms left, even though I still have like.
That's where it goes in the heart, right? The clot goes to the heart.
Yeah, actually, the small veins in your lungs.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but they're dangerous and they kill people.
You know what's funny too is like a lot of birth controls. That's like a side effect of a lot of birth control is pulmonary embolism. It's like, okay, maybe that's not great. I don't know. But
maybe a person's blood chemistry is not to be fucked with.
Or maybe, yeah, and like I'm all for medicine and healthcare, but maybe there's times and places, right? Like, I don't know.
Exactly. Probably makes a lot of nature work.
All right, we got some viewers now. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
I'll do that. Hello, everyone out there in streaming land. My name is Eric Joss. I go by Pastafarian Libertarian on Twitter, and I am running as the Libertarian candidate in Colorado House District 48, which encompasses a lot of Weld County. And since redistricting has happened, a good chunk of Adams County as well.
Oh, yeah, because I pulled up the picture. I guess I could put it on here too. But yeah, it is like it's all Greeley and all that. And Windsor. It's everything on like the east side. Milliken, kind of, isn't everything over there?
Yeah, it's kind of east of I-25. And due to redistricting, it's gone a little bit south. So previous to that, I think it was in District 63. But this year I'll be in District 48 and I'll be able to represent it. And with any amount of luck, I might do pretty good.
You will.
I actually did pretty good. I ran 4 years ago. I ran as the Libertarian candidate for state Senate in District 13. And I got exactly 1,776 votes, which I thought was a pretty good omen.
That is kind of like, ooh. Yeah, I'm looking at the picture and there's like Colorado District 50 is like cut out. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think 50 is Greeley. Yeah, and you have to be really careful when you bring that up. If you're not careful, it brings up last year's district. Since they've redistricted this year, the boundaries have moved south.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different now.
All right. Oh, we got, I don't know if you can see the chat. We got Stoner in the chat. He's up in, he's kind of by Greeley. What's where it was like the wet county when everything was dry. What's that city called? Hold on. I had it on the picture.
I think that was Evans.
Not Evans. What's it called? There's another name for it. Hold on. He'll know. What's that county called? Stoner or that town. It's where there's a lady. So back in the day, all of Weld County was like dry, Garden City. That's right. Garden City is in.
That's right.
Yeah. So you live up north. How are you dealing with the heat?
Oh, not all that good. My air conditioning is barely working, but the way I look at it falls on its way. So yeah. I don't do so good in the summer anyways.
At least we get it hasn't really cooled off. I was down at high altitude or higher altitude, and even it didn't cool off at night. I was like, oh, that's weird when it doesn't cool off at night here.
Highly unusual.
Okay, so then you've been in the Libertarian you've been in the Colorado Libertarian Party for a while then, if you ran.
Yeah. I've been a member of the Libertarian Party for about 7 years now. I am a former Republican who even back in the day when I used to vote for Republican candidates, always did so. I had to hold my nose and just kind of grin and bear it. because none of them like really appealed to me. It's I was always I always liked the fiscal conservatism, but the conservatism that was, a very anti liberty, I guess you could call it, always kind of offended me. And ever since George Bush the second, the neocon bullshit of endless war is totally drove me away from the Republican Party. And I think I found a really nice home in the Libertarian Party in general. And here lately, in Mises Caucus, these guys, I mean, they're putting the Libertarian Party back to its original roots, where we're talking about individual liberty, and we're getting away from the woke bullshit. And hopefully, we're not going to be running any retread Republicans for any of our higher offices anymore. I mean, Bill fucking Weld, give me a break. How the fuck is he a candidate for vice president? So,
are you
that's
from
kind of the way I'm
Colorado?
thinking right now. What's that?
For a while? Have you been in Colorado for a while?
I've lived in Colorado for about 40 years now. I'm actually from Buffalo, New York, and I come from kind of an interesting lineage. Both my parents were European refugees from shortly after World War II. So they both had to endure Nazism. So they saw the evils of fascism. And my mom particularly also had to deal with Russians coming in and invading directly during the war. So she got to experience communism firsthand. So both my parents were very adamant anti-authoritarianism, and I learned from them at a very early age to treasure and value liberty and distrust any politician that works to weaken liberty for anybody.
Amen. Well, and like what you were saying, how you were you're the whole fiscally conservative, blah, blah, blah. I feel like, don't you feel like that's how Colorado, that's kind of our vibe, how our vibe has always been out here for a long time, was like, you can be conservative or whatever, but there was enough space and everybody was like, just, I'm not going to like force my life on you, like, I just feel like Colorado was like that, especially, but it's changed obviously the last couple of years.
Oh yeah, I would definitely agree there. A lot of it, I think, happened probably in the late '90s. I don't know if you remembered, but there was a ballot initiative to kind of make sure that gay lifestyle type people weren't going to be considered a protected class. And I know conservatives really jumped on that pretty hard. But, when you stop and think about it, that's kind of an anti-liberty idea in the first place. So we kind of go back and forth on that.
And I feel like sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Your turn.
I was just like, I feel like even over the last like 10 years, there's been such a shift. Cause even like I would go to tracks in Denver, the gay club, and everybody, it was just fine. Nobody was weird. Nobody cared. Like, you did this, you want to be trans, whatever, as an adult, whatever, like, it's fine. And then over the last like 5 years, everything changed. Like, there was this like culture change, even in like some alternative lifestyles too. And I'm like, what is going on? We're like, it wasn't about just doing what you wanted anymore. It was about doing what you want and forcing other people to accept you, which you can never be like that as a human. You can never, obviously you want to be accepted, but you can never force anyone to accept you. Right. Like, you just can't.
I agree.
Yeah. And it's like,
yeah, we're kind of forced into like little tribes nowadays. And I don't like that. I personally like to experience other people's tribes without them necessarily hating on me, and vice versa. Because remember, there used to be the definition of a Colorado conservative was a guy that may not necessarily approve your lifestyle, but he would help you defend, his gay neighbors to defend their weed field with fully automatic rifles if it came down to it. And I'm still up for that.
Me too. And that's like the whole thing over the like I said, everything's just gone weird anyways. But I'm like, if you want to make friends with people who are different than you, then go do it. Don't turn your kid into it or whatever. Like, everything's just gotten so weird. And like, even just because I've been here since 1990, I was young when we came out here, and we moved to Douglas County, which it's actually fairly liberty. Like Weld County and Douglas County, I feel like are what we should be like going after, because that's like where people are still kind of in the mindset of what we're in, like just do whatever, but don't force it on me. Don't screw with kids. Simple things, right? But you're closer to well, that's Larimer County, but Fort Collins is kind of went crazy too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's kind of gone left in my opinion. I don't get up to Fort Collins very often, but I'm under the impression that that's definitely made a leftward turn. Weld County, much like Douglas County, there's lots of elbow space here, and I think that naturally kind of lends people to being more tolerant of their neighbors because we just don't rub elbows quite so hard.
Yeah. And that's what's changed a lot in Douglas County is as Castle Rock grew and Parker, as it got more suburby rather than as rural, it's just changed. But luckily, like Douglas, I don't know if you remember Douglas County during all the crap over COVID, they said, we're out of the Tri-County Health. Screw you. We're decentralizing. We're starting our own board. We're doing our own thing. Like, I was like, oh my God, it's happening, like it's good to hear. And did Weld County kind of do that too? Do they have their own little thing?
Well, Weld County's always been kind of on their own. And even during COVID, we were not pushing the masks at all. I think in the early days of COVID, they had enough people scared and terrified that masks were pretty common, but it didn't seem to last pretty long. I mean, shortly thereafter, you go to the grocery store and no one was making a big deal about the masks. And pretty soon everyone's just kind of emboldens people to just get rid of the damn things.
I remember Polis was like, oh, if Weld County doesn't adhere to our rules, I'm going to give them less funding or ventilator, whatever. And it's just like, shut up, dude.
Yeah. Excuse my French, but fuck Jared Polis.
Cheers. I know I should have got another. Like, and they've been nuts with the whole like Justin Amash, and they're all trying to paint him as libertarian now. And I'm like, if you look at your fucking Amazon, any delivery you get now, you were paying 27 cents more, and that's Polis. That fucking Polis.
Pisses me off to no end. I work for a heavy equipment dealership, and we just got an email a couple weeks ago saying that anytime we deliver parts, we have to assess that fee, and that is pure bullshit. Jared Polis is an expert out of talking out both sides of his mouth. He can play the libertarian game to a certain extent to people that aren't paying all that much attention. But anyone that lives in Colorado and pays any kind of serious attention to this guy knows he's full of shit. He is a hardcore Democrat. He's a leftist. And he has made it very, very clear. The only time he plays libertarian is when he thinks he's playing to the right kind of crowd, and he can get away with it.
I know that's our job this year is to be like, no, you like if you. I just felt like with this whole COVID thing, with all the changes in my life and the people who came in and out of my life, it was just like there was such a liberty rising, just a liberty thing, and I'm like, I hope he doesn't I hope he doesn't trick people, because he's not, especially that 27-cent thing is so stupid. Library Wolf, who she's in Colorado, we were talking about it, and like his whole thing was, well, there's more delivery drivers on the road. And it's like, so the roads get ruined. It's like, no, the whole point about delivery drivers is more people are staying home, so there are less people on the roads. And that's why they passed that stupid thing. And it's like, that makes no sense. He just wants to get around Tabor and all that shit too, I'm sure.
He does. And another thing that really pisses me off, excuse me, is he is taking credit for giving Tabor refunds, and he has fought Tabor his entire career. I mean, this is just so antithetical to anything that Democrats would ever do, but now they're so willing to take credit to give a refund that Tabor tells them we have to get this refund. This is our money. We've been overcharged and we deserve to have it back.
And when did Tabor happen? Like the 90s or something?
Yeah, it was actually, I want to say about, like late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. I was already living in Colorado then. And I had a friend that worked in the Dacono city government, and she was like really concerned about it. Not that she was against Tabor, but she didn't know how fiscally that was going to work out for the city. But Tabor's been a godsend for Colorado. I mean, it's kept politicians unchecked. It's reduced their power. It's given money back to the taxpayer. We need more Tabor, not less.
Yeah, and he's all, ooh, I'm helping people get $400. It's like, no, you're bitch. That wasn't you. That wasn't you. He's such a slimy politician. Like, he's just so
He is
slimy.
a consummate politician. And the sad part is the media doesn't hold his feet to the fire. We in Colorado and all across the country, we need local journalism that pays attention to this kind of stuff and is willing to ask the hard questions, even if they get shut off, from the corridors of power. They need to be willing to do that. But unfortunately, Channel 7, Channel 9 with Kyle Clark, that ain't going to happen. But we need more kind of journalism like that, local level, which really shows our politicians for what they're all about, and honest and straight up. And also tends to will also give a little bit of credit to libertarians, because something I learned the first run I did when I and I don't want to tell everyone that I am what we call placeholder candidate. I don't have the money or the time to really make a strong effort. So anyone that wants to donate money or their time to help me, I strongly encourage you to find a candidate that is running a serious candidate and can legitimately use the help. But I'll be honest with you, the newspapers, the TV stations, the radio stations, no one wants to put a libertarian on to expose their views during an election year. It doesn't matter how serious or unserious of a candidate you happen to be. That's just the reality. But that's
trying to make us look dumb. They just want to make them look like silly.
Precisely. They want to just maintain the illusion. There's only two parties out there, and you're either Team Red or Team Blue. And if you're neither team, then there's something wrong with you. That's the illusion that they're trying to perpetuate.
So as a house, if you represent the house, you or your district, then you go down to like the legislation sessions. Is that what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd have to take what do you call it, sabbatical from work during the legislative session, because it would be my responsibility to show up and do that type of stuff. And I'm not sure how it would work with a third party candidate. Normally with the two major parties, you would caucus with your party and make a plan and introduce legislation or try to block legislation as necessary. So I would assume that if me or any other libertarian would win our race, we would probably caucus with nobody, because we would be the only libertarian or a very few number of libertarians there. Who knows what kind of committee would be assigned to?
Right, but, the committee thing. That's the committees. Like, that's what you have to get in with, because that's what my whole thing is like. Of course, Mommy, you're an idiot. You haven't gotten involved. But all I need to do is go down to the legislator and start schmoozing people, But like, it's just, I don't want to go down there. I don't like these.
Yeah, I am in the highly unlikely event that I actually win my race. I am not looking forward to the actual schmoozing. I am by nature very introverted, so I will not enjoy that part. But I want to encourage people to vote for me. So honestly, if I do win my race, I will do my very best to schmooze, and I will certainly promise not to vote for any legislation that inhibits the liberty of Coloradoans.
Love it. Well, and you have the gumption in you to do it. So yeah, so we voted yay for you at the convention to run for this district, So everybody who got up, I was like, yay! Like, it was mostly everybody was unopposed, obviously, but yeah, I love that. I think
I like that notice speech.
Yeah, the notice speech. That's just a silly. I'm like, because I was never involved so much till after COVID. Then I started getting involved with our local stuff and the Mises Caucus. And yeah, everybody out here in the Mises Caucus is so cool and accepting, they love me and I'm crazy. And everybody's just been so nice. I'm like, this is the people these are my people, So, and I'm not a political person, but I'll get involved a little bit. I'll help out a little bit. Right. And people like you who want to run, it's great. Got to. It's but the local politics is all that matters. The fucking federal shit, everyone's like, oh, well, if you vote for a third party, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. let's talk about local stuff then. Like, let's vote for your local libertarian or liberty-minded people, right? That's what I
Exactly. It's one of the things I like about Mises Caucus. Now we're concentrating on more on the local races and things like city council and mayor. And I'm an old guy, in case you haven't noticed, but I'm not your typical Mises guy. Your typical Mises person is fairly young, but I don't fit any molds particularly. But I'm thinking once I retire, I might make serious runs for like city council. I live in a little town called Fort Lupton. We're right here in the southern part of Weld County, and I could easily see myself being involved to that level. And I might even try to run for mayor. And who knows, I might make them. Go ahead.
Is Fort Lupton off of Highway 76, kind of?
Yeah, it's kind of between 76 and it's close to 85.
Okay.
So, this last spring at the convention, I was like 20 minutes away. So I really had no excuse not to go to the convention this year. It was actually kind of nice. It's a nice, easy drive, and spent the day up there. And I had a chance to meet you, and I thought that was really cool because I just recognized you from your Twitter profile, and I had to, everyone out there in streaming land, I had to walk up and say, "Hey, I know you. You're Forest Mommy. I remember you from Twitter." And I shook her hand, and she says, "Yes, you're absolutely right." So we had a chance to talk for a couple of minutes, and I thought that was really cool. You're like the second person I've met off of Twitter.
Oh, well, even like some of the Mises people. See, I feel like I met a lot more people on Twitter first, and then in like the group stuff. But I don't know. No, it was so much fun meeting people. I love it, and it was great where it was at this year too. Like, that was great at that spot.
Yeah, that was right there. It was just down the road from the animal sanctuary out by there by Keensburg.
And apparently we got it like for really, the owner of that place gave us a deal or something, so it was worth it because they're like libertarian too. So
cool. I thought that was an awesome venue. It could have been a little bigger. It was a little crowded in there, but I think they did a really good job, with running things, and the food was good. I wish I would have had a chance to meet some more of the Mises crowd. Like I said, I'm by nature on the introverted side, so I'm not like really super outgoing, but who knows, maybe in the future I'll get a chance to meet more of the crew.
We should plan something and then hang out with me, because then I'm like, I'm the person who's like, everyone has to know everybody if we're standing here talking. Like, I'm like, introduce everybody, like, gotta know that way. I love it. Okay, so how many people are you running against? Do you know?
Okay, the Republican crowd has been thinned out due to the primaries, and his name escapes me, but his mug is all over Weld County. He's got a pretty good campaign going. So he's got yard signs and bigger signs up all over the place. The Democrat that is in the race is someone, she goes by the name Spring Erickson, and she's out of Lochbuie. And I haven't seen anything from her. So I'm assuming she's not making a very serious effort. And I've noticed that Democrats do not make very serious efforts in Weld County in general. They kind of just give up because they know it's pretty hardcore Republican conservative territory. But at the same time, this is the kind of territory where libertarians can make big gains. So, if I ever get to the point where I've got the time and I've got the financial resources to make a serious campaign, this would be a very, very competitive area, I think, for libertarians to do well in.
At the very least, what we should do, and I'd be happy to help with this and come up there, is just go to a brewery or something and say, hey, we're like, just have people come meet you. We'll come hang out. I know you're not super, but it's like I got a brewery. We'll be drinking, whatever.
We're having fun, and alcohol is just a universal lubricant. It gets people to open up and speak their mind, and I'm all for that.
Yeah, we should definitely plan stuff like that. And I want, like I said, no one else I love that you reached out to talk to me. None of the other people have reached out yet, but I'm glad you reached out. But we know, because we know each other from Twitter, and you're like, oh God. And I love that I'm crazy. And you're like, oh, she's cool.
Yeah, I totally accept you. I mean, you're my kind of people. I mean,
that's what it's about. That's what I tell people. I'm like, even how I live my life, guess what? There are things, if I had kids, I would live different. You know, you can live your way and think maybe if I did this, there would be a certain way to do it or whatever, but I'm not going to tell other people what to do. You know, it's just that easy. I don't know.
Exactly. That's how I live my life. I like to be left alone. I leave others alone. As long as they don't harm me, they don't harm my dogs, I'm fine. And hopefully I treat them the same way. You know, I used to like commute back and forth to work on motorcycle like year round. And unless it was snowing, obviously I'm going to park it then. Open pipes. And I had to stop and think, you know, I'm coming home, you know, when I work swing shift, I'm coming home 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I actually talked to my neighbors. I'm like, hey, you know, do you guys hear me come home at night? Am I bothering you? And they're like, no, you know, the rare times we hear you, you're idling your bike down the road. So I'm like, you know, that's cool. You know, they're at least open up to me, and you know, I'm, you know, trying to be considerate and not ruin their day. And they don't, they do the same thing for me. It's not like, you know, they mow their lawn at 8 o'clock in the morning when I was trying to sleep, you know, back when I was working swings. So, you know, live and let live goes a long way. As long as you show respect to others, it's amazing how much respect you'll get back in return.
And just the simple, like treating others how you wish, like, yeah, like you said, like, you know what, if someone was being loud when I'm trying to sleep, I'm going to ask them if I'm being loud. Like, it's just such a
Yeah.
simple concept.
It's
So
a fucking golden rule. It's simple. It's easy. Live it. You know,
it's
don't
so
be a dick
hard.
to other people. How hard is that?
It's so like hard when there's people like all my friends are completely different. Everybody's like, and it's just like, it's so easy to get, or it's so easy to like, and you know what? If you don't like someone, you don't like someone. You don't have to make a war with them. You just don't like them, right? But
Yeah,
most people,
I just don't interact with them. You know,
yeah,
there's
and most
people
people
at
you
work
can
I
find
don't
something you,
like, and I don't
yeah,
talk to them. And
that easy.
you know, the people I do like, I fuck with them constantly. And my attitude is, if I'm not fucking with you, it's probably because I don't like you. So I have
That
fun.
easy. Voluntary association. And then like it's really easy to like usually find something you like in someone, or at least set out kind of trying to find so, and then if there's nothing there, fine. But it doesn't have to be a whole thing. It doesn't have to be a whole collectivism thing, especially. Like it's just it's really that's why libertarians in general have such a hard time, because they're like, how do you not get this? It's so simple. Like just
Yeah,
like people or not.
it's the most basic of human interactions. Don't fuck with me. I don't fuck with you. How hard is that for people to understand? But you know, when I used to have a leftist friend that I used to work with, loved her dearly, but I just did not understand this woman. She just could not leave well enough alone. She just thought it was her and the Democratic Party's destiny to make an ordered society that people would just fall in. And I'm like, you don't get this. I mean, you know, some of us don't like to be part of an orderly society. Some of us like to live our own lives and be independent of others. And leftists just don't get it. Neither do authoritarians on the right.
Yeah, any
That's the thing.
authoritarians. And half the time I'm like, if your idea is so good, prove it with your life and just live your life. And if it's a great culture, people they'll follow it or not, you know, like, but they never
Exactly.
force it. Even this happened with, I had a huge group of trans friends trans spectrum, some are cross-dresser, because I just get along with middle-aged, I'll say it, middle-aged men that were cross-dresser. I just get along better with like those people. And it was so funny, especially in COVID, to see the divide that happened, because they got so, the identitarian politics was like super heavy with the gay crowds, or not even gay, like whatever they want to call themselves. And like, so like my best friend's a cross-dresser, but he like loves Trump and like, you know, but like the other ones hate him now because he's like, it's so dumb. And it's like, he is the same as you almost. And like, why would you hate him? And it's just interesting how like, yeah, the collectivism stuff, but it controls people so well. We all saw it after Occupy Wall Street. Like Occupy Wall Street was everybody against the bad people. And then even if we weren't participating, but it was like 99%, 1%. And then it went to the banks, like, hey, gay people, we love you. And the, you know, armies with the gay stuff on the thing, you know, it's just like, what are you like, how are you letting that control you so much? But it's easy.
Exactly. That I think a lot of it just boiled down to marketing. You know, they're looking at what it takes to get customers, and to keep customers. And I think some of them badly miscalculated when it comes down to it. I look at Disney down in Florida. They miscalculated badly. Woke does not pay off. Tolerance, on the other hand, goes a long way. Just accept people for what they are and let them do their own thing.
And if someone doesn't like you, don't try to force them to like you. Just let them not like you over there where they're not bugging you. That's the whole thing. It's like, you know what? Not everyone's gonna fucking like you. So
yeah, exactly. I've rode motorcycles most of my life, and back in the late 70s throughout the 80s and stuff, people just naturally hated you because you rode a motorcycle. It didn't take any special effort on your part. And then all of a sudden, rich urban bikers, what we used to call the Rubs, started buying Harleys and started riding around. And all of a sudden, I had to work hard to offend people. And I like doing it the easy way. So,
yeah, the biker gangs, all the biker gangs back in the day was such a big deal, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was always assumed you were a member of a club, whether you wore a patch or not. It was just assumed you were a bad person and you were there to rape and pillage.
Which is funny because I used to work at a sports bar and there was like a religious biker club that would always come in, and they were the sweetest people ever.
I know they're so mellow. They got their little cross patches and stuff, and hey, they're cool. They ride motorcycles, so I can see the appeal. I'm not Christian. I'm obviously if I go by Pastafarian, I'm an atheist of sorts. And but
did you get a picture with the colander on your head on your driver's license?
No, I didn't, and I really should because I'm about due to renew my license anyways. So I'm kind of thinking about going that way. But one of the cool things about Pastafarianism is we embrace all religions. Just because we're atheists doesn't mean we have to be dicks about it. So I got friends that are fundamentalist Christians, at least the ones that are tolerant of other people. And I have friends that are Catholics, and I have Jewish friends, and we all get along just fine.
Yeah, that's like, you don't have to, the whole, like, that's why I hate sometimes saying I'm atheist, because there's that whole angry atheist, and I'm like, but listen, no. I grew up that way. I understand it. And like, I believe these people believe in that. And who am I to tell them they don't believe in that? And it's making them a better person. They're loving, whatever. Like my best friends, yeah, like they're all born again. Me and my family all get along. Like, you don't have to be, no, you have to believe what I believe, which I understand did come from the religious side a lot of times too. Mm-hmm. But like, it's just a different time now. And if you're accepting, it's just so much easier, in my opinion.
Yeah. My attitude is, if your religion brings you joy, good for you. That's a great thing. Just, just don't force it on me. Just, again, the live and let live type of attitude that, I think is the wellspring of libertarianism. Tolerate
started
others.
Here in Colorado.
Yep, exactly. And this is our home, and we should be on the forefront.
We should. That's what I'm like. And I really was it once I got more involved with the actual party and stuff, and like I was like, oh, this is how I felt most of my life. And it just seemed very natural. And obviously the like super political part I don't necessarily like, but just who does like the actual political part, right? But the people have been just amazing. And then our last convention was supposedly like the most people we've ever had, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, I had a good time. I thought it was a really great crowd, and I don't know where it's going to be held in a couple of years, but I hope to attend again.
Yeah, I went to the one in 2021. I wasn't really that involved, but people knew Forest Mommy, and I was like, I'm going to go because I'm in Arvada at this house, and it was at the it was over in like Golden, over at that Marriott over there, and I'm like, I have to go. It's like right down the street. And
it's easy to get to.
Yeah. Even the one out there was fine. Like I helped and set up the day before. I don't care. Like I love all our people, and everyone's just cool. And I need to actually show up for the actual meetings. But
yeah, I'm not a good meeting person. I'm not good at schmoozing, even with like-minded people. I need to get better at that, I think.
When it's all the Zoom stuff, Zoom's like burns. I've been so burned out on Zoom and all that, over I'm like, I almost would be like, let's just meet at bars or something, which I've set up a couple of that stuff too, but I'm over the Zoom stuff.
Oh, I am too. when back when COVID first hit, I'm an instructor. I teach diesel mechanics and a few other subjects. They kicked all us instructors out of the building, and they said you can't teach classes until we get a grip on this. So every day we'd have a Zoom meter, and we all had things to do, but I got really tired of it.
Well, so hands-on. How do you teach that? That's such a hands-on thing.
Exactly. So after a couple months, they let us come back to work at a limited basis, but I was only allowed to have like 4 people in a classroom, and I'm normally used to like 8, 9, 10 guys. So yeah, it didn't work out so good. So hopefully we won't go across any more COVID panics, or at least none that my employer will take seriously.
I hope not either. I'm like, I remember when it first, like when he first, well, Mr. Jared Polis, oh, don't let the government tell you what to do about your health. Okay. He was the one who was like, he put the lady in the Colorado Health Department literally right before it happened. And then when they did the statewide mask mandate, he was all about it. He called everybody selfish bastards if they didn't take part in it, and it's like, what's to stop them? Well, I guess if he gets unelected, but we'll see. We have someone running
I don't have high
governor,
hopes.
don't we? Do we have someone running for governor? I think we do. I need to get him.
Yeah, we do have a candidate for governor. I'm not familiar with him, so I don't know him by name.
I can picture him from the convention. I can kind of picture him from the convention, but
yeah. But I'm thinking Governor Polis is a lot more vulnerable now than he was the last time he ran for re-election. So let's hope he gets ousted. But I don't have high hopes for that.
There's going to be a swing, the red swing, if there is like the red swing coming back.
Yeah. Well, come November, there's definitely going to be the red wave. And I know people make jokes about the red wave, but the pendulum always swings back and forth. I just would like to see a gold wave happen as well. But we're going to be realistic about that. And I think, again, Mises Caucus has us right. We need to start local and start spending time and money promoting local candidates and get people familiar with the idea of seeing libertarians on the ballot. And again, that's the big reason why I'm running. I don't have the time or money to do a serious candidacy, but at least when people get their ballot in the mail, they'll see that there's an option. They don't have to vote for Team Red or Team Blue. There's Team Gold as well. So consider that and think about it.
Yeah, and I truly do think I just know some people got woken up, because in the alternative lifestyle was in, a lot of people went crazy, but then a lot of people woke up where they're like, we do this because we're like freedom and liberty. And then, everything was great. Like, I just know I lost a lot of friends, but I gained a lot of people that I didn't necessarily know were kind of more. So I don't know. And a bunch of school friends. Like, I was hanging out with a school friend who actually lives. Do you know who John Malone is? He's like he's Colorado's billionaire. Okay. And he owns more of America than Bill Gates, which people don't really know.
They make his money in cable?
Yeah, Liberty Media, which they still have a building.
Yeah, exactly. I know what you're talking about now.
But his like main residence is out in Elbert, Colorado, and my friend literally lives right next door to like his ranch, and the guy's like drives a dumpy pickup truck and looks like a rancher all the time. And he's literally a billionaire and owns like so much of America. But I'm like, we need to get those people. We just need his money. He was going to buy CNN for a while, but I think he backed out of that. It's like, that's the kind of money he has. But then my friend was like, oh yeah, I set up a shooting range on my property, and just like we were talking, he's like, I just wanted to be left alone. And I'm like, yes, like it's all these people. I think too, in Colorado, if you grew up here before a certain time, it's just a different mentality too. Like, and not in the cities and suburbs so much. But I have everyone's given up on Colorado. They're like, oh, Colorado's so far gone. I'm like, yeah, Boulder and Denver are, and Fort Collins maybe, but there's so much more of Colorado. And like, everyone in Douglas, I'm sure Weld County has a lot of big, huge ranchers that are very wealthy too. That's how Douglas County is just like so many wealthy people who are like, leave me the fuck alone. It's just like, we just got to get them to realize they don't have to go right or like blue or red. But just got to get there. We gotta get
Yeah,
there.
it's gonna take some effort, but I agree. I think there's a lot of money in Weld County, not just via ranching and farming, but also energy exploration. There's a lot of
Oh
oil and
yeah,
gas up here,
yeah.
which Polis has also been throttling back on pretty hard. Even though voters in Colorado, I can't remember what initiative was, but the ultra left wing green guys a few years ago introduced I believe it was an amendment to push back oil setbacks.
Oh yeah, yeah. The setback from housing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it got shot down pretty decisively, but that never stops a leftist. So leftists just find a different technique. So Polis and his cronies start up a gas and oil board, which is primarily staffed by left wing environmentalists to put the crimp on energy exploration. So, but fortunately, with the price of natural gas being as high as it is, a lot of that's getting pushed back, and a lot more people are drilling and producing. So, hopefully, some of that money will start filtering to like-minded candidates.
Well, that's the thing, like that setback thing. It's like, who lives in those neighborhoods? It's people who work in oil and gas and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, if your job is to run an engine that pumps natural gas, you're going to be pretty much against that stuff. But when leftists from Denver, Boulder get their fingers in there, that's what kind of screws things up. And it's time to think about it. There's two Colorados right now. There's the Colorado that holds all the political power, and that's concentrated in Boulder and Denver, and they're primarily leftists. And the rest of the state is still rather conservative, but we no longer have enough political clout to offset what's coming down from the leftist side.
And we got a lot more like the suburban white leftist women too. Like
exactly, that's what Democrats were targeting. Back in the 90s and the early 2000s, they were looking at the suburbs, like Westminster, Broomfield, that type of thing, and they did it successfully. They wrested control from Republican hands, and now leftists own it, and they're able to make the rules in Colorado.
Which is so funny too, because it's like they went after like women who were dependent on their husbands, and like, which, yeah, if you're dependent on your husband, that's great, but they think like everybody should be dependent, like that was like, it's such a funny thing. It's such a funny, humans are like on top of politics, like the whole like just culture and how humans act is just it's just so funny to me. And there's a lot more. I mean, the building's gone crazy up by you guys too up there. Like everything's filling in up there.
Yeah, it has. They're run out of room to build in Adams County, Jefferson County, so on and so forth. So yeah, a lot of it's being built up my way, and I don't like it, to be honest with you. I kind of like living in Weld County because I like having my elbow room. So I may have to move a little bit further north.
Like Wyoming north?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to leave the state. There's times I get very, very disappointed, and I think I need to live. And there's other times I get a little pissed off, and I think I ought to just dig in my heels and fight.
We're right. Like,
but I still need my elbow room, so I have to go find it elsewhere in the state. Well, at least Southern Weld County is getting a little too crowded for my liking.
Yeah, it's all that Milliken. Even my I'm a real estate agent, and we're just a small brokerage. It's just me and two other dudes, and our owner, he's up off Highway 14 to all, like he's pretty much at I-25. Oh, yeah. He's pretty much right there. There's a canal, and like I hadn't gone up there during COVID at all, and then I went, and there's a brand new neighborhood, like literally right there. Like just, and that's, I mean, I'm from Douglas County, and I'm moving back down there, but it's going to be a slow process. But even here in Arvada, when they started building next to Rocky Flats and stuff, it's just like, and it has exploded over there. It is nuts. And I'm like, I don't get, like, it's just nuts. And then how do we not have enough housing too? I'm like, they're building literally everywhere they can.
And I work in the construction industry. Like I said, I teach diesel mechanics. I teach heavy equipment repair. So I'm doing business. Pretty good.
Yeah. I know. I'm real, Mr. Forrest Plumbing's GC, so yeah, everything's fine. But It's just wild. Even do you remember where the Jolly Rancher factory used to be down here in Arvada? Did you ever hear about that?
I knew of it, but I never actually was there.
So it's awful. It's basically pretty much a I-70 Ward Road, and they finally like everywhere they can find, which I'm okay with. This is when they find somewhere within a suburb area that can be built up. Now they're building up all these, like some of them are detached homes, but they're like this thin. So like there's one
Oh
room.
yeah.
I'm like, who? You can't live in that when you're older. Like,
No, they're really increasing the density of the housing. And I realize that's a good thing to a certain extent, but I
in
can't
some
live in dense
areas.
housing like that.
Yeah.
I got to have my elbow room.
Yeah, even down in Larkspur, so there was never supposed to be high density zoning. Do you know who Tom Weens? Did you ever hear Tom Weens' name? He
No, I
was
have
like
not.
he ran for Senate a while ago. More conservative Tom Weens, but he bought a big ranch down there and then he wanted to develop it, which free market capitalism, if you want to develop it, fine. But the county zoning was no high density zoning, but he paid them off, so they're building more. Like it's just whatever. It is what it is. But now they're putting these like $2 million mansions, but they're on like 1 acre parcels. There's no water. We don't have any water, right?
Yeah.
uh,
Another huge problem that Colorado is going to be dealing with, the whole Southwest. I mean, look at the levels in Lake Mead. Yeah, it's going to be a big problem.
We're adjudicating the one well. We're gonna do another well, but the one well we're adjudicating right now, just in case. Like it's expensive, but then we find like the people in that neighborhood at the first well, like they did it wrong back in the day. So now we have to go. Well, we have to go down to the other aquifer anyways because the other ones are going to dry up. But it's just wild. Like I get it though because I'm like I love it out here. I understand why people want to move out here, especially like where I grew up. It's like it went from people moved out there to get away and live cheap, and now it's like nothing under $1 million. Like it's
Yeah, you can get away from it, but you can't get there cheap. I mean, that's those days are done in Colorado. So yeah, really, anyone that I know that is from out of state, I strongly discourage them from moving to Colorado. Even if they are politically more towards more beneficial for us, but unfortunately, we're getting invaded. Yeah.
Even renting, there's someone in the Colorado group is like they moved from California and they just had a hard time even just renting stuff, like everything is just it's hard. It's just
there's not much out there. There's very little competition, and so therefore prices are really bad.
And stupid. They're just stupid.
Yeah. Now would be a really good time if people had money to invest in apartments.
Yes. Or if you have a ton of debt to pay off and you own a house, get the stupid fake money from your house and pay off the rest of your debt. That's our neighbor just did that. He's like, you know what? We're going to move in with our mother-in-law. We have some debt we want to pay off because they can sell their stupid house. They're like, I'm in like a 1970s, tri-level, bi-level kind of neighborhood, older, but they're selling for like 700 plus. So he was like,
so fuck it, sell it,
pay off the other fake money debt, pay that off, and and then we'll see what happens. But
yeah. So what do you think? Do you think there's going to be a housing crash in Colorado anytime soon?
I don't think there'll be a crash. I think there's just too much money here to hold up there being a crash, or like, there's just, it's not like Atlanta. Even like during 2008, we didn't do as bad as other places with, all the foreclosures and stuff, just because there's just so much more money out here. I would like for it to go down. I would like for there to be foreclosures so I could sell those and have people pick those up. But I don't think there'll be like hopefully a plateau again or something. Or if it goes down, I don't know. I'm like the anti real estate agent. Like I discount. Like I'm like, this money's stupid. Let's do things off market. Let's stop doing the bidding war. Like let's bring it back to, back in the day, real estate agents have to drive around to get signatures. Now you don't have to do that. Like we don't need to be making that same kind of money. And I know that's wrong to say, but like that's why everything's more expensive too, is all that you have all that people reaching into the pie, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very disappointed in myself. Back in 2009, I should have bought more property, but I was a little scared because back then you didn't know if you was going to have a job or where your next paycheck was coming from. But man, that was a great opportunity to buy real estate.
Or even in the 90s, my parents, they're boomer age, and they're like, they had enough to move out here because it was cheap. It was in the 90s, everything was foreclosing out here too. The late 80s and the 90s, I think there was a lot going on.
Yeah, there was some bad times back then too.
And they're like, we wish we would have bought, but they didn't have the money back then to buy more, like especially in Douglas County and stuff. Like, you just, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, those tri-levels that are going for $700,000 right now, they were going for $65,000 back then.
Oh yeah, Mr. Force Mommy bought this one for like one, a little over one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, because I have the house in Larkspur now through my family, and I'm like, well, I don't want to sell this one. Like, I don't know. I love real estate. I feel like it's great. It's the best thing.
Yeah.
Even if shit hits the fan, you have somewhere to live.
Exactly.
That's my thing, or like help somebody live there. I know, evil landlord child. The communists hate me and stuff, but I'm not fucking BlackRock. We're not BlackRock going out here. Like, it's so dumb.
There's nothing that pisses off a leftist more than people that own property.
Even if it's just like one or two, we're like, and it's right now we have a family down at Castle Rock living with my parents' rentals, and like it's a big Mexican family. They all work, and this is like they were living in a 3-bedroom apartment, and now they're living in a huge townhome, and like they're love it, like. And they wouldn't be able to buy it or something right now just because credit, and the parents may or may not be legal. I don't know. But like, it's like there is a good thing to real estate and landlords when it's not. And we can work with people, especially if you're a small time landlord, right? Like you can work with the people and it's fine. But yeah, communists. Well, that's what the whole Mao China thing was. When they started separating people, the bad people were like landlords and landlords and the Marxism, all
exactly.
of it.
If you had property and you were earning any kind of profit of, you were automatically evil, and you were exploiting the working class.
That's the whole thing too with this BlackRock. Everyone's getting mad at them, and I'm like, you understand the government is BlackRock basically, and what the people with all the leftist followers will say, we need to make rules, blah blah blah, and then the government will go like, you know what, you're right, and then the government will take all that property, and it'll be all government property, and then. Who knows what'll happen? Because I found that even here in Colorado, I found almost 5,000 houses that BlackRock owns just in 10 minutes of looking, because they have a bunch of different DBAs and stuff. And I looked up just a couple, and they've been picking stuff up since 2008 out here too. So it's like, I don't know. I don't want the government to regulate that, but it's also like if the government can get out of it, that would be nice too. But
yeah.
What do you do? I don't know. All right. Sorry, I'm talking your ear off. Anything else you'd like to say about yourself and your campaign?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head. Like I said, those libertarians out there that want to help out candidates, don't help me out. Like I said, I'm a placeholder at the time being. But if there's someone out there that could benefit, through your help, either financial or answering phones or knocking on doors, go help those guys out. The more we get noticed, the better off we are. Write letters to the editor if you can. If they get barraged with lots of libertarian viewpoints, they're not going to have much choice. They're going to have to put a few of them in their paper. And I'm going to try to knock on a few doors. I like to get on some radio stations and more podcasts like yours, Forest Mommy.
I'll come knock on some doors for you too. I'll come knock on some doors.
Okay. Hopefully we got noticed a little bit tonight. What's that?
I did that for Brian last year. He ran for Broomfield. I'm like, I'm not a real estate agent. I don't knock on doors as a real estate agent. I'm like, I think that's a violation of the NAP, technically. But for like, I'll do it for us. Like,
yeah, I don't think people really appreciate the door knocking thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there's like this. I never did it as a broker because there's a million real estate agents out here, I'm sure you know. It's just annoying sometimes. But then I'm like, for these kind of things, like when I was talking to people and they're like, oh, lower taxes? Yeah, exactly. Like there's just very simple things you can connect on and talk about. So,
yeah, there's something, a libertarian message that appeals to everyone. Even leftists can find some some things that they agree with. So when I talk to leftists, I tried to speak to them about how the Libertarian Party has always been extremely tolerant of others and have welcomed everyone into the party. When I talk to more conservative people, I concentrate on Second Amendment issues, which I'm very big on. I don't know if you could tell, but we're in my gun room right now. I do a lot of reloading and hunting and stuff.
Nice.
And also, talk to them about tax issues.
We like guns over here too.
Oh yeah.
So,
every room I'm in, I keep something handy.
Bathroom gats, gotta have it all.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna have shower beer, you gotta have bathroom gats.
I love it. Oh Lord. Okay, so this is Eric, and it's Boss. Is that what you say right?
Joss, Joss.
It's like Joss Stone, but Joss.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Joss running for District 48 in Colorado. This is a great chat, and we can do this again too, because it'll be in November for you as well.
Yeah, so we got lots of time, and you're fun to talk to. You're my kind of people.
Yeah, no, and we'll hang out, and we should do like a meetup, kind of light things up there for sure. And like, I'm down with that. I'll drive up there. I drive up to, like I said, my broker's house up at Highway 14 all the time. So
okay, yeah. You go right past my house. So
yeah,
right on.
All right, thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you, Force Mommy. Great talking to you.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.